Yeah, I mean,
Miles Bridges. Man, shout out to Lamar Odom, man. Former Laker great.
Mavs great.
Former Mavs great. 2/3 of the way being a Brandon Bass All-Star, but
Shout out to Brandon Bass, man.
there's still hope out there. And we will talk about a player who is 2/3 of the way. Listen, hey man, don't pay to be a big stiff these days. I mean, it pays, but man, rent do not buy.
You didn't
Okay.
get another win. You didn't get rid of one
Look,
to get another one.
As we are learning, but as we are learning about like this new salary cap world, hey man, you got to be willing to take somebody else's garbage in order to get what you want.
That's true.
So that's why when presented with the question, does anybody want Evan Turner? We all turn our face up. Right, see? Head shakes.
Let's say, man, you want him to turn in.
Right, exactly. You bust out into the, bone thugs. Most Sports Talk, mostsportstalk.com is the website. Couple of quick free agency news. We'll get the guys' thoughts on these. Devin Booker gets his max deal. Is it 4 or 5?
I think it's 5.
5 for 158. The numbers don't suggest much of anything, but I don't think Phoenix really had a choice. He's been their best player for about 2 years. You feel that with a new coach, the addition of DeAndre Ayton, the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, so 5 years. DeAndre Ayton, the number 1 overall pick. You think that you got something going. But Devin Booker is still over here smarting over Tyler Ulis for some reason. And I don't even know who their point guard is on the depth chart. Does anybody know?
Nah, they cut Alfred, so.
They still got Brandon Knight, I believe.
Oh, they still right.
How many times he gonna get, never mind.
Well, he just been sitting because they've been trying to trade him. But,
Is he healthy? Like, is he healthy enough to be showcased for a trade?
that's the question.
Okay.
They just have a reason, right?
Gave a reason 1 year and $15 million. I mean, okay, that has to. Did you overpay for a reason to get some sort of mentorship, tag? Because they've got swingmen that you figure their development should be a little bit further along than bringing somebody like Ariza in who's going to take minutes. So you've got T.J. Warren and Marquise Chris and Bender and is Devin Booker a 2?
Yeah.
Is Phoenix good enough to have positionless basketball to where so
He's not even good defensively. He has good too.
seriously, where is Trevor Ariza fitting in? Unless you figure one of Dragon Bender or Marquise Chris is going to play center. I don't think that's the case.
I mean, they got Josh Jackson, though.
the speaking of the DCs, so Dwight Howard's going to be their starting center.
Yes. Marcin plays with.
Right.
Yeah.
With the Marcin Gortat trade for Austin Rivers, Dwight Howard is now the new starting center in DC. Him and Jan Mahimi. That's their big man. Okay.
It's not bad.
Not bad, right?
I mean, he got a ring, though.
Jan Mahimi does have a ring. He brings the veteran savvy. Is that what it is?
Yep.
At $16 million a year, by the way.
He's gonna tell coach, hey man, Dwight didn't get it done in the finals.
Okay, so let's see. Luke Mbamute returns to the Clippers. Kyle Anderson will be a Grizzly after the Spurs said my man Slow-Mo is not worth $9 million a year. Zaza goes to the Pistons. Brook Lopez to the Bucks. Your man Nurkic decides to stay in Portland. Is that enough for Damian Lillard right now?
No.
Okay, so they replaced your man Connaughton and Napier with Seth Curry. Chris likes that, right? Like Seth Curry move?
Yeah, I wish they would man. So even the Lakers, even when our teams need shooting, and he's really good at that.
Huh. Okay. And they brought someone else in on a short-term deal. But again, no one wants Evan Turner or Mo Harkless. Zach LaVine, a restricted free agent, got a deal from the Kings, 4 years for 78. The Bulls decide to match. Chris, you like that?
Yeah, but his rant, because he didn't understand how.
He did the nobody believed in me.
Yeah.
Or the Bulls didn't believe in me.
Yeah, you have to understand teams can match. The team has to offer something so they can match it. So I like him. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he fit good for anyone around. He can shoot. He's gotten better as a shooter. His athleticism is still there. I think the knee injury was a freak accident, and he can play. And he's only 21.
Yeah, he's like 21, 22. And only played 24 games last year. As we all know, the second year post ACL is the year where you finally get it cracking. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in terms of the continued rebuild with the Bulls. Tony Parker, no longer a Spur, 2 years, $10 million to hang out with Mike Jordan in Charlotte.
Boy. There will be a lot of weird fighting and a lot of weird gambling stories from that.
But you know, his former assistant coach at the Spurs is now the Charlotte coach, James Borrego.
And also his national teammate.
Oh yeah, Batum. Oh.
And Boris Diaw has crossed that team too.
So we know who France's favorite team is now. Kyle O'Quinn goes to the Pacers.
Like it.
Like it? All right.
You can shoot. Straight.
And something that really interests me and Chris, and man, you know what? I wish my man Billy was around. So Ray Felton re-signs with the Thunder. Their payroll now, over $300 million. They're in like the fat luxury tax categories, right?
They're doing, yeah.
And this is the squad you got? The same team that basically traded James Harden for $10 million did not want to pay the $10 million just to find out what those guys could do together, Durant and Westbrook and Ibaka. Raymond Felton now takes them over the $300 million cap spot. Chris?
Well, it doesn't make sense to me because it's the same team that struggled to get in the playoffs. It took them to the last week to get in the playoffs. And also you're convinced that all this money is going to a team that was a 7th seed. Not get it, the West is good. But if you look at this talent, they got 2 guys that are top 10 players considered. And then you got Steven Adams, who I think is a phenomenal player. And you add those other pieces. They brought back the same team to say, okay, we're going to try this again. And to me, you didn't get better. You just brought back everybody. And then, and of course, the love story that we saw on Instagram, Paul George Day.
That is some small town. That is some small town ish right there.
They got
Think about this. So Steven Adams, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook are making about $85 to $90 million of your salary cap.
That's pretty much it.
Because remember, they gave Steven Adams 4 years and $100 million last year. Okay, which brings us to the Houston Rockets situation. Reports that the Rockets and Clint Capella are far apart in contract negotiations. The Rockets want to give him a Nurkic type deal at 4 for $53, whereas Capella wants the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine deal closer to 4 and $80. Hell,
DeAndre.
I want, yes. I mean, if I'm Capella and I'm looking at DeAndre Jordan and I'm looking at Steven Adams, the aforementioned Steven Adams, and I'm like, y'all trying to only pay me 20? No.
Whiteside, yeah.
Yes, because Hassan Whiteside is now the prototype of an NBA era of a bygone era, okay? But I'm looking at those two in particular, DeAndre Jordan and Steven Adams, and I'm like, no, bro. I want 25 a year. So he's a restricted free agent, of course, so a team could offer, but as Chris and I talked about, who got cap space? No one, even none of our squads have cap space. And I think Houston would probably match anything. That's why you have to get tricky in the language and be like, yo, if I give you 400, I'm going to guarantee you 60 or 65 in the first 2 years.
So I thought of a tricky scenario here. If they're so interested in Carmelo, right? Won't they do a sign trade where it has to involve Steven Adams and Melo, but you have to give them Capella? It will make Oklahoma City extremely better, I think, especially from a running standpoint and probably defensively. You get that kind of guy who doesn't, he can get in the paint and do some things. And then you get your Melo, you figure out a little itty bitty guys here and there. Probably had to get rid of a PJ Tucker per se, and they return back. You know, I know they just signed Jeremy Grant, but you may have to give up Roberson or somebody. You know what I mean? Like, make it to where it looks like, look, I think it makes sense for both teams. Houston gets their big that they need for defense. A guy that can rebound is not needy for the ball, as we know, playing with Russ, and they get a young athletic wing to run with them in Oklahoma City. So, I mean, that's the only one I can think of from my scenario, but to me, nobody has money. And see, he's not the only guy right now that's trying to beg for some money. We got a guy in Milwaukee that still hasn't got an offer from anybody.
Jabari Parker, still out there in restricted free agent land. And I wonder, does Jabari's injury history, in terms of having 2 surgically repaired knees in the last 18 to 20 months, affect his wanting to take the 1-year qualifier and then hitting free agency next year? Chris, what do you do?
Yeah, he's going to have to take a DeMarcus Cousins deal, I think, like a 1-year, $5 million. Go to a team that can win. I mean, look, go to Houston. Go to Golden State. Your stock rises. You got to realize this. You go to those teams, you win. People like winners. The Lakers, you know, if they can find a way to do some tricky things to get rid of Ding or stretch him out, and get some things in that nature, go to one of those teams that has a chance where you compete and get minutes. Because right now his issue is the injury history, because nobody wants to deal with that. And we don't know. Like, honestly, have we even know if Jabari Parker got better from his last year? Because we don't even know what he did. Like, we just think of him as just being a pretty good basketball player. We don't know what skill he got better at. Is he going to be faster? There's a question about his weight. We don't know if he has a natural position. So a lot of things to think about with Jabari, but I think for him, personally, get out of Milwaukee. Go to some team that has a chance to win. Look at an Indiana Pacers team. Look at some team like that that has a chance to compete at a high level. Boston. Man, come off the bench for Boston. You know what that would do for his rep? He would get a lot of money going into next year.
I don't disagree with that. I do think that that plays in his mind. Also, the thing that plays in his mind is how his team, faded in the playoffs, and him pouting during one of the losses about not getting enough playing time. That sort of goes around the league, and they hear those things, and they are skeptical to commit to you for 4 years and big dollars, because you're going to listen. He sees Zach LaVine, he sees Aaron Gordon, and he says the only difference is an opportunity, okay? So I'm a $20 million player. If I were him, I'd seriously just sign a 1-year qualifying offer and bet on myself next year when there will be more teams with cap space, including your Mavs and my Lakers, okay? I think he's a rotational player on a good team. I'm talking about like a 6th or 7th player, even a starter, depending on, the situation. But I bet on myself. I mean, I understand I got the situation with the knees, but nah, I bet on myself. Our boy, Michael Carter-Williams, is going to get some of Luke Mbah-a-Moute's time as he gets a veteran. Man, Michael Carter-Williams is already at the veteran minimum world.
Not even 30.
Might as well, I got it too.
He's a Rocket. Jeff Green, 1-year veteran minimum deal to go to the Wizards.
That might not be
The
bad.
former Georgetown great headed back to D.C. Avery Bradley stays with the Clippers 2 and 25.
Nice team.
So, and a move that I think we all bemoan. I think we even talked about this a little bit last week. Tyreke Evans, 1 year, $12 million for the Pacers for the veteran swing man.
I like this Pacers team.
I like the
Yeah.
Pacers. I like this Pacers team too. But the East, and the East looks like it will have at least 3 to 4 teams that you have to at least look at, okay? Because I'm liking these Pacers moves. A little crow eating for your boy Nate McMillan, who did a pretty good job last year. So we'll see. Dante Exum and Derek Favors both stay with the Utahs, $33 and $36 million
Nice contracts.
respectively.
Yeah.
Yes, very nice
Rotational.
contract. They
Rotational
lose Jerebko to the Warriors. See, Jerebko knows, man, hey, I'll hit this
So
for a year.
all he has to do is get rebounds.
Yes,
That's all you got to do.
okay, I mean,
And he can stretch the floor a little bit too.
and I think that, McCall coming back next year, and I like Jordan Bell. They re-signed Kevon Looney. The depth will be there. I mean, he may be the 10th guy, but
That's a nice team's got to have.
and
And then you also consider the fact they're talking about bringing in Jamal Crawford. It gives them another guy that can handle the rock.
as long as he ain't dribbling for dollars, listen. Here, in Golden State, bro, we don't dribble for dollars, bro. Ball move faster than a man. We need to get that taken care of.
What would he? I think a perfect team for him, man, would be like,
Who, Jamal Crawford?
yeah. I would say Oklahoma City, man, because like they need. I don't get Oklahoma City because like right now their best bench player is Jeremy Grant, right?
And I like
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant, but how are we feeling about a Roberson comeback? Is Travis,
It ain't gonna help him offensively.
is the reporter reporting anything on that?
It ain't gonna help him offensively.
Okay. I
He
mean,
ain't gonna get the ball anyway with them two.
I think the thing with Oklahoma, I think the thing with Oklahoma City is, beyond Westbrook, who do you trust with the ball? Ray Felton? Like, if Ray Felton in 2018, 2019 is one of the 3 players who you trust most with the ball, how good is your team?
Not great.
Okay.
You're a 7 seed.
I mean, that could have been somewhere for Kyle Anderson to go.
Well,
Now, I'm not for paying Kyle Anderson $9 million a year, but
San Antonio said, nah, y'all got it.
I mean, which Lonnie Walker slides in and takes his minutes. Okay. So
And I like the youngin over there, the point guard, DeJounte
White.
Murray.
I like him. I like all guards that can rebound.
And he plays defense.
Okay, I agree. Well said. From that Seattle, Washington area, home Nate Robinson,
Jet.
Crawford Boys, Jet Terry.
Spencer Hawes.
By the way, did you see the Nate Robinson Big Free video?
Yeah. Wanting to fight.
Okay, couple other stories. Adam Silver says NBA in 2020 draft will be altered. Well, I mean, in terms of eligibility.
Okay.
So here's my thing. I think the most simple solution for this is to follow the college baseball method. You can make yourself eligible for the draft out of high school. But if you go to school, you owe the school 2 years. Okay?
Okay.
Not a mandatory thing, but if you end up signing with a college, you got to stay there for 2 years. Because, and I took this from Bomani, all this angst about drafting players straight out of high school would be a thing if y'all wasn't drafting players straight out of high school. It's not like the one and dones that came out this year didn't get drafted, okay? Well, a couple of them, because I saw the Duke guard, Trey Duval. He didn't get drafted. But them Kentucky boys, when we check it out, Kevin Knox for the Knicks, they all got drafted. So it's not like the teams have a problem with it. So I say open it up. And if you want to help college basketball, so to speak, follow the baseball model and if you sign a letter of intent, you should go 2 years. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. See, the one done thing is kind of tricky because you get the Melos of the world who actually did really well. You get the
Kevin Garnett,
Kobe's. Our recent drafts with Alonzo Balls, Dennis Smiths. But then you get the other side, right? That's when you get the
Kwame,
the Harrison twins, the Kwames of the world.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. I just think open it up. I like the idea of maybe like a minor league or something like that. Or if you come out of high school, you play 2 years in the G League.
You got to, okay, but you also, listen, the other thing is you got to expand the G League. Listen, you can't pay them like a McDonald's assistant manager, okay? Like and I'm talking about beyond the two-way contract. They need to go, if they want, they should be able to sign a player for low six figures.
Well, the problem with the college thing is this. I like the idea, but what happens if he gets hurt in college? The coach can be reckless, plays him too long, and then you get NBA coaches in the college coaches' face saying, okay, I need you to, and also that can lead to some sort of weird tampering situation where all of a sudden the team's looking, oh God, he's playing with another kid that we can go get next year. We can just take him too then.
But that happens all the time when a school will hire someone's dad, like the Michael Porter situation. Like these Lawson boys that's headed to Kansas. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll just hire your dad or they'll hire your AAU coach. I just think that if there was an issue with high schoolers coming straight to the league, it's just players that have an issue with it because they're like, yo, that's just like a rookie possibly taking the spot of a veteran. We need to push that back a year or so. But listen, if you decide to sign a letter of intent, you should stay at least 2 years. Which leads us to another NBA observation. So Zach Lowe wrote a story that the Rockets approached Adam Silver about flip-flopping free agency and the draft.
Oh, okay, yeah. Word.
So the free agency period would come first,
Oh, and
then you would have the draft. So somebody said logistically you couldn't have the draft at the beginning of July, and I'm like, well, I understand that there's tangible and physical aspects of putting that together, but I mean, are we rotating the draft sites yet? Because I think the NBA is going to do that next, like the NFL does. So you could get dates, okay? It's not like the free agency period stops once the draft begins. Now you can't do free agency till after the draft.
But you run into a situation where, okay, so like right now the issue, well, there's no issue because it'll be clear soon, but like Luka Doncic situation, because they had to commit to the team overseas, like right at the beginning of like June. If not, they go to draft. But what if that player doesn't get drafted, or he gets drafted and you ain't had the draft yet, or and all of a sudden he doesn't get. It's a weird scenario. I like the idea with doing the free, because then it gives the team idea this is what we need. Because I think it also changes draft minds. Because then what happens is this: if the Mavs were to take Bamba, or your team takes Bamba, or you go, say for instance, the free agents are better. You guys could have got say if you can win and got DeAndre Jordan, right? and then all of a sudden you're like, well, we don't need Bum anymore. Now we're gonna get the guard that we need in the draft. I like the idea of that. Get it out the way. I don't like the whole moratorium thing where it makes you wait, like say, because to me, I get it was a burn for the Mavericks, but at the end of the day, get it out the way. He's already committed. Sign him. Let's move on. Because to me, you're in this situation right now. And I also think it helps the players because teams are going to be hungry, especially if there's a guy that dominated the playoffs. Say, for instance, like that one year. Who was the kid that Houston had? The guy that shoot Troy Daniels.
Troy Daniels, okay.
Remember Troy Daniels had the crazy playoff series, and then all of a sudden he was like the hottest free agent out there. He went from like not having a job to all of a sudden he's going to be somebody's sixth man. He gets signed instantly. Soon as it's over with, JaVale McGee is off the Warriors the day after the championship. I think you do. Because just like football, there's Black Monday, right? That's what they call it. Black Monday is when they start firing everybody. Guess what? Black Monday needs to be in basketball. Let's get this free agent thing out the way so that way when the draft comes, players get drafted. Because that's what happens. Teams look at needs before the fact, not knowing that, hey, the Lakers can end up trading. Because I think if the Lakers had a chance to know who they were going to draft first, they might have not signed some of those guys that they got. So you never know. So I like the idea. I just don't know if that's going to actually work. I get the logistics part too because you got to really plan that around like different things. But like these venues today, like they're talking about bringing it to Cowboy Stadium next year.
See, that would be great. And I think, listen, as we know, free agency is still going on. We've talked about players that are still available. It's not like free agency is gonna stop once the draft begins. The draft is one night. And it's not like you're not preparing for the draft and free agency at the same damn time. I just think it's not really as big of a deal as it seems, because also I heard this on Around the Horn, I think it was from Frank Isola. He says that will change teams' draft strategy. So,
I like it.
Maybe instead of just grabbing the best player regardless of fit, you grab a need, okay? So I think it's not going to be anywhere anytime soon. I think they're going to deal with this draft eligibility thing first. But moving free agency before the draft is no big deal. So, and I'm not saying this is going to be a continued trend, but the last two NBA finals and 3 of the last 4 have all ended like before the second week of June. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't think you still playing the season as if it's a 7-game series, but I don't understand like if the season ended on June the 20th, free agency couldn't start on the 25th, and you have the draft on July the 1st. Like what's the problem? Because when does summer league start? The second week of July, something like that.
First week of July, basically.
Right. Okay. So I don't see what the problem is. Summer League stuff. The only thing that has stood out to me on Summer League is the jerseys.
Like
Chris said he loves the jerseys. I've seen some good looks. And I like the name under the number.
Yes.
I like that look. So other than that, hey, I see Mike got his logo on the Charlotte Hornets. Like, yeah, Unite. I mean, we all Nike, you know what I'm saying? But it's like an Acura. Okay? It's like Acura. The rest of y'all is just like Hondas. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I can't say nothing about the players. I will say I'm slightly surprised that Markelle Fultz isn't playing, but I understand why he isn't playing.
Because he killing my chicken.
Well, he might join that Melo harm the backboard team if he doesn't find his shot. Chris, any Summer League thoughts or observations before we get out of here?
I like the Kevin Knox kid from this draft. I think he's going to be really good in this draft. Is it Lonnie Walker for the Spurs? He looks impressive. Obama looks really good. Dennis Smith looked really good. I mean, that's nothing that surprises me. There's not too many second-year players. Because usually, like, the last 5 years, you've had a trend where second-year players play at least 1 or 2 games. I'm not liking the idea that they're letting, and I get it what the Lakers are doing here because maybe they're shopping the goods or not trying to get the goods hurt. But I think I would like to see Kuzma and Ball out. Well, Ball obviously probably not going to be able to do it, but I would like to see Kuzma get just a little work because at the end of the day, I think that any reps are good reps. And I just think that that's a little weird to me because it's not like they're like veterans. These are kids.
Are you Are you surprised Dennis Smith is playing? And how many games, is there a schedule for him to play? Because I see, like Knox plays Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so the thing with Dennis was this. When I asked him was he playing Sunday, he said it just like this. He said he wanted to play because he needs reps. He said that he's gained weight for muscle to get bigger, so he wants to get it going so he knows what he needs to do this time for his body.
Okay.
And the story was this: is when we won game and he did good the first game, and then Carlos was like, "Nah, we good," and he said, "No, I want to play again." I also think that they're waiting on the whole Real Madrid thing with Luka, so they can at least put them out there together one time in some sort of simulation game. But only reason why I don't want him to play as much is because, and I'm not trying to stereotype his play, but he is like Westbrook, Derrick Rose, all those guys that just, if you look at his highlights, he's attacking, dunking people. That's what he's doing. And last thing you need is for him to dunk or go to the lane and get clipped and he's out for the season.
And you know what? That's interesting, but here's the thing, though. They're going to play anyway. You know what I'm saying? Is Jonathan Isaac on the Orlando Magic Summer League team?
Yeah.
Okay.
He need to be because, he was hurt a lot last year. But just real quick, though, this recent trade that just happened,
Yes. Go ahead.
they're literally only saving $1 million.
So Mook gets rid of Bismack. He gets Mozgov in return. Also gets Jeremy Grant
Which I'm cool with that.
in a three-way trade. So you have your point guard rotation as of now.
Basically, but it definitely needs to get better though. But we'll see. But yeah, as far as like Mozgov and Biombo, money wise, it's only a $1 million saving. So yeah, you just basically traded one for another.
Okay.
He's just taller.
Indeed. Very good. Let's take a break. When we return, we will get to the rest of the sports world. Try to slip a college football note in about recruiting classes, but we will talk a lot about baseball. Nats, Dodgers, my continued rooting quest for the Rangers to have the most wins of any last place team. Goals. Mo Sports Talk on the afterparty.com.
Just like that song didn't age well.
All these hoes think it's strangers.
Nah.
None of his music aged well, I'm sorry. Maybe I get around, it's like an anthem.